Sinha joins us, and we've also got Gurmeet Chadha. Why are you both not smiling?
No, I think it's been a fantastic listing, and I think this is unprecedented actually.
Who's got shares? Have you both got
None
it?
of us.
Then why are you smiling? Then you should be crying. All the more reason you should have sat fizzer miss ho gaya. Okay, Gurmeet, what does one do now? Chase the stock or just wait it out?
Nikunj, I think first kudos to the Tata Group for pricing it so attractively in a market. I think that's and mind you, it's an OFS. They could have easily priced this earlier. I think have a slightly staggered approach. I think this has bridged all premium valuation gap which it had with LXZ KPIT, although strictly not comparable. Difficult to really add at this price right now. I was hoping more at probably 800, 900 to add, and then maybe now. So I think over a 3 month period, if you get slightly better prices, should be a core portfolio stock. It's deals with almost 7 large ERD spenders in automotive space, almost 5 large spenders in renewable energy space. They've added Airbus recently, which gives them access to aerospace and aviation business. Also, they are working very closely geography-wise. So China, they are focused on EV. France, it is defense. Germany is more embedded software, which is what KPIT and others does. So beautiful company, great digital engineering capabilities. But you said paying 70, 80 times trailing right now, with market also being at high and sector facing a lot of headwinds, doesn't make sense at this price to me. But if it comes lower, maybe in 3 digit, would probably want to add it in a staggered manner over a long term.
That price. I mean, you'll wait for 1,000, you'll wait for 1,100. At what price you would say I'll start buying?
So I think, sorry,
Yeah.
is it to
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, Nikunj, I think 3 digit is what I said. I would be more comfortable buying. I think what we have seen with IPOs, whenever they have this kind of listing, you do get opportunities, maybe few days, few weeks down the line. You got to be more patient. So, in my view, so let's say, for example, we have exit polls today. So, there's one headwind which probably will come. I don't know which way it will go. Difficult to say. So, there will be events. The markets have been. We are obviously on the higher end of the valuation. So just be patient. Otherwise, it's sometimes you call it joy of missing out. Sometimes you can just admire on the sidelines and just say wow.
Saying, wow, I don't know how much joy of missing out there is right now. There's probably just complete FOMO action going on right now. But, Dhananjay, just when it comes to that overall valuation metric, because that is something that we're constantly discussing, but I understand that at 1400 levels, it's about a 77 times multiple, which is more expensive than a KPIT or a Tata LXC. But how are you just looking at the overall valuation metric versus maybe not the like-to-like comparison, but other peers?
I think first of all, I think the growth for the company has been pretty strong over the last few years. Been growing at almost like 30%. I think the mix of the business is also sort of changing positively, and there's a significant runway that lies ahead. Both in the automotive space and other spaces that we are talking about in aviation, other stuff that we are talking about, mining and other things. So there is a long runway that the company has, and I would agree that this is something that one should have as a core portfolio. In terms of valuation, I would say that pre-IPO levels it was fairly attractive at almost like 22 times FY24 earnings. Now it has shot up to almost like 52 times or something. So it's a fairly so I think a lot of juice has been taken away right now. I think the discount it has with other companies such as KPIT, L&T Technologies, etc., and Tata Elxsi, etc., has been pretty. I think one would want to buy this at a lower level. I would be looking at something like a post IPO. I think there is a lot of exuberance because of the fact that the subscription was substantial, and there is a sort of a premium because of that, because of the shortage. And I would say that in a few weeks or maybe a month, it should come down, and I would be looking at something like 20% lower. in terms of valuation. But nevertheless, I would say from a long-term standpoint, if I'm looking at 4 5 years standpoint, also I think this is a stock that can easily give phenomenal returns. So I think with the kind of opportunity it has, the kind of growth that it can deliver over a long period of time, the way things are moving in a positive way in terms of product mix, in terms of geographical mix, and the fact that it is a lot to do with automation in various industries. I think it will be a favored stock from a long term standpoint.
A favored stock from a long-term standpoint, indeed. Any concerns whatsoever, Gurmeet, when it comes to challenging maybe the business model, how things are run, maybe even valuations, pricing, etc. for Tata Tech?
So I think one, I would not call it a challenge, but could weigh on the stock is the concentration of clients. I think Tata obviously and JLR account for 1/3 of the revenues, a little more than 1/3 of the revenues, and then you have Winfest, which is undergoing some trouble, which is the Vietnam-based EV maker. So the top five account for almost 70% of the revenue, which obviously is the nature of this space as well. But they are trying to add more clients in aerospace and defense. In fact, if you see defense and aerospace, the annual ERD spend is about $50 billion, and that's also increasing by $10 billion. So I think this and the fact that they're present on across the value chain, from design to manufacturing, engineering to embedded software to service, is pretty good. We visited their site in Pune. One of my team members also went, Aditya, and they showed us some of the capabilities they do on reverse engineering. They actually made parts for Air India, which weren't able to convert Air India planes to cargo planes. Then they showed us their digital cockpit, which they do, the factory monitoring, which they do through robotics. So they're very, very good as far as their capabilities are concerned. But I agree, probably at this price, I'm probably maybe more tilted towards KPIT. And if you see margin profile is similar, one good thing with them is their on-site mix is the highest amongst all tech companies. So that obviously also tells you that they work together. They don't really compete with the OEM, and they work on a lot of confidential projects as well. So I think client concentration is the only concern, and I think, but at 70-80 times it's difficult right now to enter. Maybe a slightly at a lower levels, we'll be more happy looking at it.
Fingers crossed till when those lower levels come, because there are quite a few who are actually FOMOing out there. But good to have you both join in and talk about one of the most historic IPOs, even though the IPO market has been so lively. And just yesterday, you had IREDA, closing on the stupendous gains. But Tata Technologies, historic. It's even beat IREDA's performance, 160% higher just within minutes of its debut on D Street.